Why was Deathrite Shaman banned in Modern and Legacy? Now, Deathrite Shaman is one of the most loved and hated cards in Eternal formats. Originally printed in Return to Ravnica, it is a 1-mana 1/2 that does a lot of different things. You can tap it and exile a land from a graveyard to add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. You can tap it and play a black to exile an instant or sorcery card from a graveyard for each opponent to lose 2 life. And you can pay a green and tap it and exile a creature card from a graveyard for you to gain 2 life. This card has been equated with it being a 1-mana planeswalker. It is a ramp card. Now, it is main deck graveyard hate, sure, and you also get some benefit from exiling creatures and exiling instants and sorceries in your opponent losing life and you gaining life. But the biggest reason why it was extremely powerful is in formats with fetch lands, it was also a mana dork. So main deck graveyard hate, longevity, because in the late game you can just dump your extra mana into making your opponent lose life or you gain life. Neutered graveyard decks, because decks were just playing this card anyway on turn 1, and it was a mana dork. That is crazy. That was so good. But in formats without fetch lands, the card's just good. When it was in standard, it was even rare to see it in the sideboard. But in Eternal formats where mana efficiency is key, and cards that do more than one thing in a very powerful way is key, it was just too strong. And on February 3rd, 2014, it was banned in Modern. And on July 2nd, in 2018, it was banned in Legacy. So let's talk about each one of those formats in their own context. In Modern, the announcement said this: different flavors of black-green decks have recently been among the best performing decks in Modern. These decks play many very efficient ways to trade cards 1-for-1 with their opponent, such as Thoughtseize, Inquisition of Kozilek, and Abrupt Decay. Strong mana acceleration helps these decks trade 1-for-1 efficiently enough that they can keep up with the other decks in a large format such as Modern. But normally playing mana acceleration comes at a cost of playing cards that are less powerful in the late game. That makes sense. Deathrite Shaman, however, is powerful at all stages of the game. Having a strong attrition-based deck as a large portion of the metagame makes it difficult for decks that are based on synergies between cards instead of individually powerful cards. We believe removing Deathrite Shaman from the format will leave more room for future innovation. After Deathrite Shaman was printed in Modern, Jund became the best deck in Modern by quite a bit. It was called Bloodbraid Jund. It played Deathrite Shaman and Bloodbraid Elf and Dark Confidant and Thoughtseize and Abrupt Decay. It was amazing. It was so good. They tried banning Bloodbraid Elf first. The deck was still excellent, and then they realized it was Deathrite Shaman that was doing it, right? Having that mana ramp early so that the deck could keep up and even play Bloodbraid Elf on turn 3 or something insane like that, and it being good in the late game and being main deck graveyard hate was just incredible. It was way too good for Modern. One thing that kind of hurts for me though is that I like when fair decks are the popular deck in Modern, and I had this deck put together, and the banning of Deathrite Shaman didn't kill it, but was not good for it. And it was very expensive, but it was just too powerful for Modern. 4 years later, in Legacy, they decided for a lot of the same reasons it was too powerful in Legacy. For a much longer explanation, because Legacy is supposed to be the bastion of these powerful decks. So let's read what it had to say about Legacy. The popularity of Deathrite Shaman decks have been a topic of discussion in the Legacy community for much of the past year. During that time period, Grixis Delver using Deathrite Shaman have been played in most decks on Magic Online, with other Deathrite Shaman variants among the next popular decks. In recent snapshots of the environment, Grixis Delver showed a 55% non-mirror match win rate against the field. At Grand Prix Birmingham, 11 of the top 16 decks used 4 copies of Deathrite Shaman, including 5 of the top 8. When the most popular deck in an environment is also among the most winning decks with a win rate significantly above 50% over a long period of time, we investigate. Over time, we've seen a reduction in diversity of blue-based non-combo decks, with what were once more differentiated aggressive mid-range and controlling archetypes condensed into a similar core of the strongest cards. Deathrite Shaman's powerful mana-fixing capability allows these decks to commonly play up to 4 colors, which, by the way, is hilarious in a world of triomes now, but, in Modern, but whatever. Choosing from the most efficient cards in the environment, its flexible abilities allow the decks to easily switch between aggressive and controlling stances, making them difficult to attack. Additionally, the incidental graveyard hate provided by Deathrite Shaman's abilities automatically protect against offbeat strategies like Dredge and Reanimator without requiring deck building concessions against the rest of the metagame. While a card seeing lots of competitive play doesn't by itself necessitate action, in this case we also see a reduction in diversity in the environment, an inability for the metagame to adjust, and a dominant strategy that's particularly hostile to rogue decks and innovation. For these reasons, Deathrite Shaman is banned in Legacy. Really, this is saying the same thing as in Modern. It is just too powerful. It can change stances really easily, it fixes mana and ramps mana in a format with fetch lands, and it is just so strong. Now, it's probably still too powerful for Legacy for all of the same reasons, especially in a world of initiative where Reanimator is trying to attack it, but maybe the initiative threat might necessitate Deathrite Shaman, but then Delver will just like re-innovate and just be way too good again. So that's probably not the case. It's probably a good for it to be banned in Legacy. But in Modern, in a world post like these Modern Master sets and Modern Horizon sets, it might be fine again. I'm really not sure, but that's Wizards' reasonings. What do you think? You should let me know in the comments. And if you like this video and like videos like this, please be sure to like and subscribe. Check me out on social medias. Links are above me and in the description. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.